The Prix de Triomphe is arguably the biggest race in all of Europe, attracting up to 20 of the best turf horses the whole world has to offer. But the race has sometimes proven too big of an achievement for its equine stars. The champions who win it, now too valuable to ever race again. That was the case for Ace Impact last year, a horse whose hype had finally been justified when he won the Arc, but as soon as he did, he was announced retired. But he's not the only one. 28 years prior was a thoroughbred who became a legend in only 4 races, never to be seen again. Lammtarra. Both horses had great turns of foot that inspired many in a short time frame. So now comes the question, who would win? Sired by Nijinsky out of Snow Bride by Blushing Groom, I present the horse you didn't see, Lammtarra. Meaning invisible in Arabic, it wasn't very appropriate for what he would do on the track. He was prophesized by his trainer Alex Scott to win the Epsom Derby. He was so sure of it, he bet 1,000 pounds on his horse at odds of 33 to 1 before the horse had ever stepped foot on a racetrack. In a bittersweet twist of fate, Alex was completely right about the colt, and he would fulfill his trainer's destiny, and even a bit beyond. But Alex never got to see it, as less than a month after his horse won their first race, he was shot and killed by a groom. It was a truly horrifying and unfair end to a young trainer who had just found the horse of a lifetime. Lammtarra would carry on his legacy by overcoming incredible adversity in a historic treble that broadcasted everything Alex saw in him to the world. As a racehorse, Lammtarra was inexperienced and sometimes unmotivated, being difficult to train in his youth, with him sometimes just flat out refusing to work. But on the track, although he still ran green, by the end of the race, he would always put everything together. Typically, he would stay near the back of the pack, and slowly get faster. He would win by as much as he needed to, always having one more gear than the other horse. In the Epsom Derby, he flew late and got up in the final strides, but in his final 2 races, the King George and the Arc, he was in bitter tussles against older and more experienced horses, each time holding off all comers by the finish. In the King George, despite being passed in the stretch, he had enough time to come back and win. And in the Arc, he led throughout the entire 600-meter home stretch at Longchamp, with multiple world-class horses taking turns trying to run him down, and all failing. The Arc also displayed a level of versatility, as he was never worse than 3rd the whole race in contrast to his come-from-behind style previously displayed. He may not have had the experience, but he had so much raw talent and heart, it perfectly covered any of his weaknesses. In terms of achievements, no horse has ever done so much in so few starts as Lammtarra. In 3 starts to 3-year-old, he won 3 of the most important races in all of Europe, the Epsom Derby, King George, and Prix de Triomphe, with the only other horse ever managing to win all 3 in the same year being the legendary Mill Reef. The horses he would defeat in these 3 races included 17 different Group 1 winners, the highlights being the English and Irish 2000 Guineas winners Pennicamp and Spectrum, 1994 Arc winner Carnegie twice, the next 3 winners of the Hong Kong Vase, Parcher Prawl and Lusso, future trailblazer Swain, who won 2 runnings of the King George among other Group 1s, and went on to place her show in the Dubai World Cup and Breeders' Cup Classic on dirt. Dual Grade 1 winner Pentire, who won 6 to 7 races at age 3, with the only horse defeating him being Lammtarra, and 4-time German Group 1 winner Lando, who only 2 starts after losing the Arc would win the Japan Cup. Overall, Lammtarra may have only ran 4 times, but he conquered the best racehorses Europe had to offer at the time, making sure he and the trainer who always believed in him, Alex Scott, will always be remembered. Sired by Cracksman out of Absolutely Me by Anaba, I present L'Invincible, better known as Ace Impact. Bought for a modest 75,000 pounds as a yearling, he would not make his first start until he was 3 years old. By the end of the year, he was the best in Europe. He began on an artificial dirt surface, but would move up the ranks 1 race at a time. He certainly is not a morning glory, being a lazy worker, but when it was time to race, he became a completely different animal. Where have you heard that before? He was a come-from-behind horse, staying at the closest, mid-pack, and at his furthest, almost last in the early going. Then, with his large strides, he'd devour his competition with a powerful burst of speed. While he was most comfortable on the outside, away from the traffic, he wasn't afraid to bully his way out of a traffic jam if he had to. In just one season of racing, he would race 6 times and never lose, the highlights being 2 French Group 1s, the Prix du Jockey Club, the French equivalent to the Epsom Derby, and the Arc against older horses. His victory in the Jockey Club was the fastest running of the race ever clocked, and his win in the Arc was the 4th fastest at Longchamp. With those wins, he was voted Cartier Champion 3-year-old and Horse of the Year, making him the greatest horse in Europe in 2023. The horses left in the wake of Ace Impact's incredible speed included, but are not limited to, Big Rock, the winner of the Queen Elizabeth Stakes, Hucum, the full brother to the nearly unbeatable Baaid, who, while he lost more than his brother, also was given the chance to run at more racetracks and distances, winning from 1 mile to 1 mile and 5/8. The highlight was 2 Grade 1s, the Coronation Cup and the King George VI Stakes. Bay Bridge, on the other hand of Hucum, was the horse who defeated his full brother Baaid in his final race, the Champion Stakes winner Bay Bridge. Through 7 Seas, a horse who finished half a length behind Equinox in the Takarazuka Kinnin. Continuous, twice, the winner of the St. Leger. Westover, winner of the Irish Derby and the Grand Prix de Saint Cloud. Victoria Road, winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Overall, Ace Impact had a brilliant but brief campaign on the track with a great turn of foot that no opponent was able to hold off when his engine rolled. With both horses covered, it's now time to go to Longchamp and see these two duke it out, along with their strongest opponents. Number 1 through 7 Seas. In 2023, she was the closest horse to defeating the mighty Equinox when she was half a length behind the horse in the Takarazuka Kinnin. Number 2, the first of our main opponents, Ace Impact, undefeated in 6 starts, all of which took place in France, the highlights of which being the Prix du Jockey Club and the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. Number 3, Pentire, winner of 6 of 7 races as a 3-year-old. His one defeat came when he lost the King George to Lammtarra, a race he won the following year. Number 4, Swain, a horse that did a bit of everything, winning 4 Grade 1 races and holding the odd distinction of finishing 3rd in both the Breeders' Cup Turf and the Breeders' Cup Classic. Number 5, Lando, a 4-time Group 1 winner in his home country of Germany. He was also a globetrotter with victories in Italy and most famously, Japan. Number 6, Continuous. Born in Japan but raced in Europe, he has won in France, Ireland, and England, with his highlight being his victory in the St. Leger. Number 7, Carnegie. As a 3-year-old, he won the 1994 Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, but the following year he was dethroned by Lammtarra. Number 8, Westover, a dual Group 1 winner in Ireland and France, but mostly a bridesmaid, finishing 2nd in the Shima Classic, the King George, and the Arc de Triomphe. Number 9, Pure Grain, won the Irish and Yorkshire Oaks before having the unfortunate luck of running against Lammtarra in the Arc. And finally, number 10, Lammtarra. In just 4 starts, he won the 3 most important races in Europe, a feat only equaled by Millreef. And that concludes our post-parade. Now, let's get to the race. They are all in line and ready for the start. And we're off and racing! Good start for all. To the early lead, it's Carnegie by half a length. On the inside rail, Swain, followed closely by Westover. On the inside rail, it's Pentire just ahead in front of Lando. Then it's half a length to Continuous, who is abreast with Pure Grain. And then it's another length back to Lammtarra. Second to last early on will be Ace Impact. And the trailer is Through 7 Seas, who can see them all by about 12 lengths as we continue down the backstretch. Just in front, by a head now, it is Swain, sandwiched between horses, Carnegie. On the outside, it's Westover, then it's 4 lengths back to Lando and Pure Grain. Then closely behind, it's Continuous and Pentire, 2 lengths back then to Lammtarra, and now gaining ground on the inside rail and making his move early is Ace Impact. He has passed Lammtarra, and now Lammtarra is second to last, with only Through 7 Seas beat as we continue around the turn. So the leaders are just Westover and Carnegie now. Swain has given up his place and is now stalking in third, 3 lengths behind. Then it's Pure Grain on the inside rail. Pentire and Lando begin to make up a move. Ace Impact is sneaking through on the inside and is continuing to pick up speed. Lammtarra has not been asked for his run yet. Just in front, Carnegie. Then to the outside, Westover. Ace Impact is in a pocket behind Swain. Then it's Pentire and Lando. Lammtarra, followed then by Continuous. Pure Grain's falling back, and Through 7 Seas begins to make a move. And Ace Impact has split horses. He has taken the lead, and here goes Lammtarra! The 2 horses are gonna duke it out! out. It's Ace Impact on the inside. Lammtarra to the outside. Ace Impact just in front by a neck. Lammtarra right at his throat lash. Ace Impact stays vigilant, but Lammtarra isn't giving up. They're coming down to the finish, and Lammtarra has pulled ahead and defeated Ace Impact. He is still perfect. So why did I pick Lammtarra? It is very hard to truly gauge the abilities of lightly campaigned racehorses because you don't have as much to work with. Both were unbeaten record setters who beat multiple grade/Group 1 winners. The way I was going to separate these two was off the merits of their greatest moments, and that was where Lammtarra outshined Ace Impact. Despite running less, in just 3 races, he won a sequence only matched by Mil Reef, a horse considered in the top 10 for greatest horses to race in Europe. Ace Impact might have been blazingly fast and the best of his year, but he wasn't a history maker. With great horses like Dalakani, Montague, and Pentra Celebra all winning the same race as Ace Impact did, but also achieving even more. Ace Impact was a perfectly managed, brilliant racehorse that comes only every 10 years. A horse like Lammtarra is once in a lifetime. For that, I give Lammtarra the win 60% of the time, and Ace Impact 40%. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Horse Racing Versus. It's now time for the next race to be revealed. The Kentucky Derby, the greatest 2 minutes in sports, run for 150 years, and during that time, quite a few monumental upsets have occurred. In the last 20 years alone, we've had 4 winners of the Derby be 50-1 or larger, most of them doing it the same way, with a brilliant come-from-behind performance. Giacomo, Mind That Bird, Rich Strike. Next time on Horse Racing Versus.